All right, today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful experiences a human can have, the orgasm. But we're not just talking about the feeling, we're looking under the hood at the science. We're going to treat this whole biological event like a rocket launch, breaking down exactly how your brain and body work together to achieve liftoff. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? What is actually happening inside you at that peak moment? It's not just one thing, it's this incredible symphony of chemicals and signals. So let's get into it. So here's our flight plan. We're going to start at mission control, that's your brain. Then we'll get into the countdown to liftoff, which is the body's peak physical response. After that, we'll explore the chemical afterglow, that post-launch float. And finally, we'll touch on how this journey can look a little different for different people, even though the destination is the same. Okay, first stop, mission control. And this is key. We tend to think of this as a purely physical thing, right? But nope. The entire chain reaction, the whole shebang, it doesn't start in the body. It all kicks off with a series of commands from deep inside your brain. And the command center for this whole operation, it's called the limbic system. Now, this is not the part of your brain that's worrying about spreadsheets or what to have for dinner. This is the ancient, primal part. It's all about emotion, motivation, and, most importantly for us, pleasure. Once it gets the right signals, it starts that countdown. So how does the brain actually get ready for launch? Well, as soon as sensory signals start coming in, our mission control, the limbic system, just lights up. But here's the really wild part. For the launch to happen, another part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, has to basically take a nap. This is your logic and reason center. Think of it like the super cautious safety inspectors all deciding to go on a coffee break, letting the pure sensory experience take over completely. And as all that anticipation is building, your brain unleashes a flood of dopamine. This, my friends, is our rocket fuel. It's the feel-good neurotransmitter that's all about reward and motivation. It's what drives the whole thing forward, making you want more and getting the entire system primed for the main event. Honestly, without dopamine, that rocket is never leaving the launch pad. Okay, so mission control is buzzing. The rocket is fully fueled with dopamine. Now it's time to send those signals out to the rest of the body. The brain has officially given the green light, and the physical launch sequence is about to begin. This is where your sympathetic nervous system just takes over. It's the exact same system that handles your fight or flight response. It cranks up your heart rate, boosts your blood pressure, gets your muscles tensed up and ready for action. It is literally the master go switch that puts your entire body on high alert for liftoff. And then we get to the peak itself. The scientific name for it is myotonia. And what is that? It's that series of involuntary, rhythmic muscle contractions that really define the whole climax. In our analogy, these are the final stage thrusters, those powerful, all-consuming pulses of energy that tell you liftoff has been achieved. It's a total body response, all started by the brain. But wait, the mission is not over once the rocket's launched. Actually, some of the most interesting stuff happens right after the peak. We're now entering what I like to call the post-launch float. That amazing period of calm and quiet as the body and brain gently coast back down to earth. And the first member of our post-launch chemical crew is oxytocin. You've probably heard it called the cuddle chemical, and its role here is absolutely essential. Right after that intense physical release, the brain gets a huge wash of this powerful hormone. People call it the brain's social glue for a very good reason. Oxytocin is what triggers those feelings of trust, of bonding, of emotional connection. It's like a chemical antidote to all the intensity of the launch, and it encourages us to connect. It's the very thing that can make a physical event feel deeply emotional. Right on the heels of oxytocin comes another major player, prolactin. Now, if oxytocin is all about connection, prolactin is all about conclusion. Its main job is to send a clear signal that the mission was a success. Yeah, you can think of prolactin as the official system cool-down signal. It's what brings on that deep feeling of satisfaction and, well, completion. It's also the main reason for that refractory period and why a lot of people feel super sleepy afterward. It basically tells the brain, all right, mission accomplished, time to power down. So let's do a quick roll call for our chemical crew. We start with dopamine, our rocket fuel, getting all that anticipation going. Then, after the peak, oxytocin, the social glue, shows up to help us bond. And finally, prolactin comes in as the system cool down, giving us that feeling of satisfaction. See, each one has a totally distinct and vital job. Now, this all leads to a really important question. Is this rocket launch exactly the same for everybody? We all know experiences can feel different, so let's take a look at what the actual science says about the biology underneath it all. And what the science shows is honestly pretty incredible. When you look at the physiological nuts and bolts, the similarities are just overwhelming. The same core parts of the brain light up, you see the same muscular contractions, that myotonia we talked about, and the same chemical sequence of dopamine, oxytocin, and prolactin. That fundamental blueprint is the same for everyone. Where we see differences is more in the experience, things like how long the refractory period lasts, or just how people describe the feeling itself. And knowing this lets us bust some pretty old myths. Biologically speaking, the orgasm is a universal human response. That fundamental machinery, the rocket, the fuel, the whole chemical crew, is shared across the board. The destination is the same, even if the flight path has a few little variations along the way. So when you put it all together, what you're really looking at is a complete biological reset. It kicks off in the brain by shutting down the analytical parts. It builds to an intense, full-body physical event run by the nervous system, and it ends with this beautiful chemical cascade that brings you back to a state of calm, satisfaction, and even connection. And that really brings us to a final, bigger thought. When you see the whole process laid out like this, from that first little spark in the primal brain to that final calming wash of prolactin, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our bodies are this perfectly designed for such a profound experience, what does that really tell us about that incredible, unbreakable link between our minds and our bodies?